Hey, welcome to day 6 of 30 Days of Healing. This is a series that's giving you bite-sized pieces so that you can implement it in your life and heal from trauma. And today's topic is all about boundaries, and it was actually inspired by the free training that I delivered in my community called Unbothered that was all about setting and enforcing boundaries without guilt and fear of rejection and all of the confidence. And so I actually really want to talk about boundaries because I think it's an important thing that comes up in our healing and it's not talked about enough. I think that the way that it's actually talked about is a lot of bullshit and a lot of fluff and a lot of cutting people off that are toxic because they looked at you wrong or they said something funny to you. And I think that that's not the reality of setting boundaries, especially when we are talking about families and how complex that can be. Now, I'm in no way saying don't cut toxic people out of your life. I'm in no way saying that it's not about no, but there are two sides to setting boundaries, okay? And in case you're new here, I'm Angela. I'm a trauma healer. I help women heal trauma and embody their worthiness and step into their sovereignty. And this is really for all stages of healing. Boundaries comes up quite a lot for all of my clients and my audience. And if you want to see which stage of healing you're in, actually go down to the description and check out the link for the quiz, and you will get to see which stage of healing you're in, and it delivers phenomenal resources so that you can get to the next stage of your healing. So let's talk about boundaries, okay? Now, I can't really tell you how to set and enforce boundaries in 10 minutes. What I can tell you is that your healing from trauma is going to be a foundational piece to setting and enforcing boundaries with ease, okay? The reason why we don't set boundaries or we're afraid to set boundaries actually has a lot to do with our childhood conditioning and is actually highly connected to our mothers. What happens is that we learn to people please out of the hopes that our moms will be happy. Well, we actually give up our needs, our desires, our wants, our thinking, and our feeling, hoping that our moms are going to be happy. What we learn is that mom doesn't actually change and she's not ever actually happy. Now, I'm not saying she's not, but you don't understand or don't rationalize as a child that your behavior actually has nothing to do with it. So what happens is this conditioning actually becomes a survival mechanism so that you continue to give up your needs, your wants, your desires, your thoughts and feelings so that hopefully they will be happy and you'll receive something in return. This is people pleasing, okay? It's actually highly manipulative and it's actually not really who you are. And so we end up struggling with boundaries because of this conditioning, and it gets so hard because we have no idea who we are. We have no idea what it is that we truly want, and we don't even know what it's like to actually speak up for ourselves. So if you are like the ultimate people pleaser and you really struggle with saying no and setting and enforcing boundaries based on what the online space believes boundaries are, your goal is to not actually say no, because the reality is that if saying no makes you feel completely unsafe, that you can't set and enforce boundaries or allow yourself to be in the space of saying no as a complete sentence, focusing on no is actually counterproductive, and it hurts you and it sets you back and puts you back in to the stress response, and we don't want that at all. So if you are a chronic people pleaser and you're trying to shift out of that, your goal is to focus on yes. And your goal is to focus on yes, an actual hell yes, and what it feels like in the body. This is why the foundational piece is healing, so that you can so that you're so connected to yourself, you know what yes is. And yes is much easier to deliver than no is. And then what happens is you get so good at saying yes, saying no becomes a lot easier, okay? Boundaries are not just about no and cutting people off. Boundaries are about you, your values, your morals, your goals, your dreams, and your life. Boundaries are ultimately a structure in which that you live. Okay, a structure requires yes, not no. So that means that your focus is to call in more of what you want within that structure of the way you're going to live your life, not no. Because if you're going to continue to focus on no, you're going to actually call in more things that you have to say no to and cut people off, okay? So again, boundaries is not just about cutting people off. It's not just about saying no. If you're a chronic people pleaser, your goal is to, number one, focus on healing, because that is why you continue to people please. It's because you have not let go of your trauma and your unhealthy childhood conditioning. But two, your focus and goal is to focus on yes and what that actually feels like in your body, so that saying no actually feels easier. When you are in a space and you know that it's completely aligned for you, and you've been expressing your boundaries and you've been speaking up, and they're not respecting you and your boundaries, it is time to cut them off, whether they're family, no matter who it is. And I know that that's so hard, okay? I've had to cut so many people out of my life, and I know that it doesn't feel good. But the truth is that if you keep running back, if you keep not upholding your boundaries, the truth is that it's not them that's devaluing you, it's you that is devaluing yourself. And you don't want to do that, because you are completely telling yourself that your needs, your wants, your desires, your thoughts, and your feelings don't actually matter. And so that is you doing that to you, and you're allowing them to do it to you because you're not upholding your boundaries. Now, if you're in this space where you're constantly running back, you cannot uphold your boundaries at all, this is actually not about being able to withhold boundaries. This is actually a codependency. And this codependency usually comes from a narcissistic parent. And so we want to believe that narcissism starts like way later in life, but most of us are actually conditioned because most of our parents have very narcissistic tendencies, especially if you've experienced any type of trauma or unhealthy childhood conditioning, which I imagine that you have, because you wouldn't be here otherwise. So how do you let go of codependency? Of course, by healing. That is the goal. So remember, boundaries are not just about no, okay? They are about who you are and how you want to live your life. And if you want to see which stage of healing you're in, check out the description below, and I will see you tomorrow.